No, I asked for my food with the purple grapes and you give me the green ones. Like, it's not that hard. I don't ask for much. Whatever. We're about to film.
I'm not done yet, bitch. Go away.
Okay. Oh.
Oh my god, the nerve of people. Shit.
That was good.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Radiance YouTube channel. I'm your host Taya and we are here for the roundup, honey. Just a few days ago, we saw episode 3 of Escape the Night Tragedy at the Theatre premiered and our second guest died. So for today's episode, I knew I needed a guest who would give me their true, unfiltered, raw opinions and also, you know, give some good TV for you guys to watch. So I had to phone up my good friend, Miss Kimmi 𝗥𝗓𝗓𝗚𝗜𝗓. Hello.
Hey, queen. Where's my paycheck?
Well, you have to do the episode first.
That's not what I was promised, girl.
So how are you? How have you been?
I've been good. I just got out of a fight in another Discord. I'm living. I'm having just such a blast.
Well, you know, I don't think when was the last time we were together? Oh, we did. Stevens was the last thing we were in together.
Yes, literally. And that wrapped up like earlier this year, didn't it?
Yeah, but it went so well. It really did. And there was actually someone who we were on with in the cast, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So, you know, should we just get into the episode then? We won't waste any time. You know, let's get into it.
Period.
So this episode starts with the aftermath of Naomi's death. And, you know, a few of the guests are sad, a few of them are, like, okay with it. How do you think you would react if you were in a situation where, like, one of your friends just died? Like, casually, and you had no idea what was happening? Like, how do you think you would react?
I mean, like, people have definitely in the past seen me and how I would have reacted. And usually I do not care. It's just like, I mean, it really just depends on how close you are to the person. It's like, I don't know Naomi myself, but it's like, if I was close with her and she went into the challenge and she didn't come back, I mean, I'd be gagged. Like, I would literally be like so upset because like, that's one of my good girls. Like,
yeah, I agree. I think the thing with Naomi, I don't know if she had those bonds with anyone. I don't think anyone was like her best friend, but I don't think there was anyone who really like wanted her dead. So it's kind of like, it was a weird dynamic to say the least. I think definitely as the season goes along, we will see some way like people are really upset and some way people are honestly like celebrating because there's a lot of drama.
You can never have an Escape the Night without drama, and you can never have an Escape the Night without a little twist. Yep.
We would know.
Bitch, it's not my fault. I was tested and I passed, so it's like not my problem.
Well, both us. I mean, you know, we've had our fair share of fights. You know, let's get into that really quickly. So, also last episode, and kind of a little bit in this episode, we've seen like right now, there's a lot of like tension in this group, and I don't think it's the best for like, you know, trying to escape like the kind of, what would you call it? What's that word? Like connectability.
You need to have unity.
Unity. Is it unity? Yes, that one.
It's unity.
I think that is. No, it's one of those. Like there's a word like the maybe unity is the word. Unity. I don't know.
Harmony.
I don't know. Yeah. Harmony.
Girl, I don't know Harmony. Who that?
Who is she?
Also, wait, can I go get a drink really quickly?
Yeah. Can you like read me as the director? You can be like,
you're always so uptight because your socks are too up your legs, you stinky bitch.
Oh, look at like a sniff.
Oh, that explains the nose.
I don't have it. Do I have a nose on Roblox?
No.
Do you have a nose? No. I don't know.
Bitch. Who does? You know who does? One of those camera crew in the back behind me. They have a nose, bitch. You know exactly who I'm talking about, Miss Wendy.
Wendy, she looks nasty. Wait, go on free count. Look at that bitch. She looks bald. So before we leave the lounge, Miss Valerie actually gives the guests kind of like an explanation and her backstory. Now, personally, I found this so interesting. Like, I really like her character. What did you think about like the background with like her leather and all of that?
I mean, I think it's a very, interesting twist when it comes down to, villains. I mean, like, we've obviously seen dynamics before where it's like, oh, the two people who one is helping, one is against everyone in the group are like in a relationship or were in a relationship. But I think, it's a really good representation for the leg beans out there. We love our leg beans. We love her.
We do. We love them. So Valerie has kind of taken the role as not just like the vote taker, but she's kind of like a mother figure for the guests. Do you think if you were there, you would kind of, I don't know, I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, how do you think your vibe would be with her? Would you go to her if you had an issue, or would you maybe be weary because she was there already and she was in one of those cages, like one of the tubes, with Jonathan? So how do you think you would be with Valerie?
I mean, at the end of the day, I really would not know, because anyone who could be nice to you could be completely stabbing you behind the back while they're like, wishing you all compliments and making sure that you're safe, because you don't know.
And that goes for the guests too.
Exactly.
Yeah, that goes for anyone. So after this conversation, the guests head up to the stage and they're kind of approached by this old man. Like Edgar said it was his father or something. People were making comments, but he walks down and he was saying that there's this witch who was, burning the village. And so, he talked about all the crops and stuff. And then the guests were asked to pair up. Well, it wasn't really a pair. It was more like 2 groups of 3 and 1 of 4. And we ended up with the first group being Jonathan, Ali, and Pablo. The second group was Edgar, Jack, and Jocelyn. And then the third and final group was Flame, Jordan, Mercy, and Kim. So, if you had to be with one of these groups and work with them, which group would you have picked?
I would probably have picked the... Now, it's gonna be a little shady when I say this.
You could be shady.
I would pick the first group. I would pick Pablo, Ali, and whatever.
Jonathan.
Jonathan. I would pick Ali, Jonathan, and Pablo. And I feel like that because I think that I could, get some valuable information, but also at the end of the day, no matter how much you want it to be a team game and you want to prove yourself to the team, you still gotta, think about yourself while doing that. And you have to make sure that you're pulling enough weight. And I feel like in that group, I'd be able to pull my weight the most. And not only help the team, but also help myself progress within the team.
And I think that's a really good part to tap into. And going back to something you said, you were saying about getting information. Well, we kind of saw that. Jonathan was kind of explaining more about this mission with the agents and stuff that we saw in the prologue. And he was only telling that to Pablo and Ali. So they kind of have a little advantage now because they know more and they really could expose it. Honestly, for some, if they're going down and they're about to get voted in, they could say, wow, Jonathan's very untrustworthy because there it is. So now moving on to the group that was compiled of Jocelyn, Jack, and Edgar. And they kind of had these ingredient things that they had to match us. And who do you think stood out in this task? Because I think Jocelyn did well.
Yeah.
I think Jack did well. I don't think this was Edgar's strongest task. Now, he was quite good in the very first hour. I'm kind of waiting for him to push it back to where he was then, because he was quite good in the very first riddle task. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, on the top of who I think stood out, Jocelyn, at least for me, definitely stood out the most. Yes. And Jocelyn absolutely ate that shit down.
I agree.
And when it comes down to Jack and Edgar, they definitely have a lot to prove within this hour, because last hour, they were the 2 worst in the talent show. At least that's what from I was getting. And those 2 were apparently suspected to be going in. And so they have a lot to prove coming into this next round. And in my opinion, Jack was doing good. Of course, I feel like Jocelyn did the best, but even with Jack, he didn't just get 2 or 3. He was getting a lot. And Edgar, I feel like is gonna have to pick up that fucking pace, because
I agree.
He was good in the first hour, but especially after bombing so fucking hard in the last talent show,
agree.
You need to pick up the pace so that it's not consistent bottom placement. If I need the bottom girls, no.
So I think as long as he can kind of pick it up, I think he could go far. Because he's clearly friendly enough with people. It's just the challenge ability that I worry for with him.
Yeah, and we know his potential. We really do.
Yeah, So now moving on to that final group, we had, I'm not going to try and name them. I'm sure we left some of the outtakes in, but I struggled naming them, but I'm pretty sure. Okay, here I go. Ready? We're gonna do it. Ready? Flame, Jordan, him, and Mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it. Okay, so those 4 people had to kind of search almost like outside the theater first of all, and then go in. How do you think they did in terms of their task? And again, was there any standout?
It definitely kind of, had Flame standing out, at least for me the most. And it's not because he was yelling the whole time. But like the thing is that like just because you're annoying doesn't mean you can't help out the team. And I'm only saying that he's annoying because other people have commented about him potentially being annoying. I'm not trying to Flame. I'm not an anti-stan. Like, girl, don't come for me.
So now groups 1, 2, and 3 all meet back up in the lobby area, and they place the trap that they've made on top of the pentagram, and they all in position. And that required the what was that guy called? The pilgrim, telling them to hide. And I don't know, would you be trusting him in this case? Because he's not very friendly. He's very like abrupt. How would you be feeling?
Girl, I would not trust anybody in here. Like, again, number 1 should always be yourself, no matter who you're interacting with. Like, literally, you have to look out for yourself, whether it's voting people in or not, or whether it's dealing with monsters, because you don't know what the fuck you're about to get into. You don't know what is about to, like, head up. You don't know what they could bring to you. You don't know what twist could be thrown your way, and you have to be prepared for everything. And like, again, back to the whole, like, Valerie thing, you never know if she's fully on your side or fully not. And the same thing goes with every monster they encounter within these hours.
Yeah, so speaking of like a new monster kind of thing, they summon the witch. So now that she's there, she's kind of telling them, don't trust him. So yeah, you've got 2 people who are like opposite each other. One saying, don't trust her. She's saying, don't trust him. It is a very confusing situation. I don't know. I think I would probably... I don't know, like you said, like, I just wouldn't know what to think, personally. So, it was back and forth, but they do find out that the witch is in the right. Like, she's like a good witch, not a bad bitch. So, she tells them, she tells them to find the crystals, and one of them is in a final death challenge, which, forces them again to vote. So, based off this entire hour, or honestly, based off the 3 hours from the beginning of the season now, who would your vote be if you won the season? Who would you vote? I really want to know. I'm interested.
Okay. Well, considering earlier I said that I would be in a group with Pablo, Ali, and Jonathan, that would really be all I have to go off of. But at the end of the day, it really just depends on the dynamics of the group. To be honest,
how do you read them at the minute? Like, before the vote, like, how do you read the dynamics at the minute? Because I think there is, like, that split almost of people. I don't know, Ali and Flame seem to be taking up a lot of time at the minute. Like, that's prevalent. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of them are just scared at the minute. Like, I don't know, Jack is kind of coming into some fire, as we saw this episode. But yeah, how do you feel like you would have? Yeah, continue, but yeah.
If I were to play both shady and fair at the same time, I would pick 𝗥𝗜𝗚𝗜𝗓, because I feel like when it comes down to it, Ali and Flame are obviously gunning for each other. And if I'm thinking logically about my position in the game, I don't really know where I stand, especially early on with anybody. And if there's a fight that's still going around and they're still targeting each other, why would I get rid of that in order to put a target on someone else's back if one of them dies? Like, I would just not want to do that. I mean, 𝗥𝗜𝗚𝗓 hasn't really had a point where he's like, gone out of his way to do really well. I mean, we saw within that group that, Jocelyn and Jack did really well with their clues, and 𝗥𝗜𝗓 did not. Like, and this is, that was his redemption moment, and especially to prove himself after that talent show. And he really didn't do that. So if I were to pick, like, both options of being, logical, but also very fair, it would have to be 𝗥𝗜𝗓.
Yeah, I think personally, like a similar kind of thought process, I think I would go strategic and honestly less fair. But actually, no, because this hour, I feel like this is fair to say, I think I would vote for Mercy. And I think that's a surprise, but for me, because this wasn't Mercy's best hour, even though episode 2, they were killing it. I don't think Mercy did the best this time. And also, yeah, I feel like strategy-wise, Mercy might be a good one for me to get rid of. That would have been my vote anyway.
Absolutely. And I can understand that.
Yeah. And I obviously understand yours as well, but we saw the 2 polls, and actually, neither one of our votes were right. It was Jack and Kim. Now, the reactions were very different. I feel like Jack, people weren't surprised. And then Kim, was a little bit more shocking for people. How did you react when the votes were pulled?
I'm a little bit the opposite, to be completely honest. I'm kind of shocked that Jack was pulled, and I'm kind of shocked that Kim was. No, I mean, kind of not shocked that Kim was.
Yeah.
Because just from what I'm seeing, it's like, as you said earlier, like, Mercy and Kim were a bit, more quieter in their group in comparison to Flame. And yeah, I get it. Flame is a huge, huge voice. And we all know that. We've all heard it. But at the end of the day, I just feel like, Flame and Jordan were definitely very vocal, and Mercy and Kim were very, quiet. And I feel like when it comes down to it, and, pleading your cases and defending your cases, I feel like Kim probably should have gone in with Mercy or Edgar, for that matter, just because that's my opinion. But then when I saw Jack was sent in, I was like kind of shocked because he had just done so good in his group. And I mean, he wasn't the best, but he was still doing his thing.
So the death challenge begins, and Kim and Jack have to start off by doing 3 puzzles until this thing turns black, and then they're good to go. And then the next thing is wall jump. So, Jack completes this puzzle before Kim, and now he heads onto the wall jump. So Jack is basically finished with these, and then Kim finishes the puzzle. She's quite far behind, and Jack keeps the lead, and he finishes the death challenge, which means Kim is now having to die. What are your thoughts on losing Kim this early? I thought Kim, episode 1 and 2, was very strong and honestly very prevalent in the discussions, and I thought Kim was going very far, at least halfway. It's interesting to me. I don't think I'm the most upset by the death because of this episode, but if you told me after episode 2 that the next to go would be Kim, I don't think I would have believed you at all.
Oh, 100%.
So now we see the animation, and I think Jonathan killed it with the animation, but it's another brutal death. We see Kim burned at the stake by the pilgrim, and Jack was supposed to kind of watch. It was a rough one, and yeah, I mean, to Kim, I think you did well. I'm sorry to see you go so early, but yeah, this was another cool death.
My only worry is if I was in this cast, I would be very, very nervous about 2 girls dying back to back.
Yes.
It's just a me thing, the girls, we're not as prevalent as guys in just day-to-day challenges and games. And if I were in any of the other girls' positions, I would be very, very scared, just because I don't want it to turn into something that it's not,
Final predictions. Who do you think will die next?
Who do I think will die next?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's either, if Edgar doesn't pick up, he could very well die. But I feel like, to be completely honest, it could be one of the bottom girls. And it so in that theory, it could be Jack or Flame, because again, I don't think they're socially connected. I think they're doing decently well.
Yeah.
But I feel like, especially with Ellie's hatred for Flame, that's the only way I can really describe it, because it really seems that way at this point. And with Jack just being on the bottom, and even though he did redeem himself this episode, still going in, I feel like people will try and find easy ways out and just try to vote them in. But also I could see someone like Mercy going in, because he was also very quiet in this episode. And I mean, just because you won a death challenge does not mean that you are automatically safe in the future. So I am a little worried about that.
I think I'm gonna definitely agree on the Jack point. I think the fact that I thought he was not going in. I thought he redeemed himself, but yeah, socially he just seems to not be connected. So I guess my money's on Jack to go next.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see, but thank you so much for joining me. It's been so fun. There's so much we have to beep out, because we spilled a lot of secrets. That's going to be something about, something about secrets, something about spilling the tea, whatever it is. But you knew it was going to happen. It's me and you.
Exactly. Girl, we don't keep our mouths shut. We
don't. So yes, we hope you enjoyed episode 3 of The Roundup, honey, and be sure to join us this weekend for episode 4 of ETN Tragedy at the Theatre, and then next week for episode 4 of The Roundup. Bye.
Bye.
Mwah. Say it, mwah. Bye. Bye.